Hello everyone, welcome. Can you guys see my screen? Yes?
Yeah, we can.
Sweet, sweet. Oh, hey Eric, good to see you
Hey
again.
Danny, how's it going?
Good. Ready for this. Um, so we'll give people 1 or 2 more minutes and then we'll get started. In the meantime, I'm curious to know where you guys are joining from. So if you could drop it in the chat, your location, that would be awesome. New York, firm based in New York, I'm based in Miami. Nice.
So you're going to tell us a little bit about a Stifel relationship
Eric
to
will.
this company.
Absolutely.
Good.
Um,
Yeah, we have time dedicated for that. That's why Eric is here to join us. And Eric, maybe later after more people join, Eric will share his email. So if you have more questions, you can reach out to Eric directly.
Sounds good.
I guess we'll just get started. Is that cool, Eric?
yeah, cool with me.
All right, so this is for AI-powered market validation. We're going to use different tools to do research and to make sure that it doesn't hallucinate, all that good stuff. With that, I'm going to start by introducing Eric Millman, representing Stifel, who is hosting and partnering with us in this one. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, thank you, Danny, and great to meet everyone. So my name is Eric Millman. Just by way of background, I started my career in venture banking in San Francisco, have been in the industry for about 7 years now, currently a vice president here in New York City. And Stifel is a full service commercial and investment bank dedicated to serving the needs of the innovation economy. You may be familiar with us from our wealth management business. We work very closely with founders and venture capitalists on their personal financial planning needs. Um, as well as their investment banking needs. And in 2018, we launched the venture banking group here out of New York City, which really specializes in supporting founders and venture capital companies here in the ecosystem. We do both fund banking, so we actually give loans to the venture capital firms themselves, as well as their portfolio companies. I would really think about us as a free advocate that's well connected into the ecosystem that can help you with fundraising, customer introductions, and at times, plugging you into technical talent networks as well, both on the CFO side and the software engineering side. So if you're currently working with a bank who is not really plugged into this ecosystem, I'd love to connect because I think we can provide a lot of value from a relationship capital standpoint. With respect to cash, again, we're very dedicated to the VC ecosystem and startups, currently offering a startup bundle that offers 4.2% APY on insured cash sweep. So again, that's just a little bit about me. Happy to connect with everyone here and learn about what you're building and see how we can be supportive.
Great, thanks, Eric. Wanna drop your email there?
Yep.
Thank you, Sal, for sharing your email also to connect. Okay, so as Eric said, this is like focusing on the startup side. Just quick introduction. I used to work with a bunch of startups. That's how I got involved with this with one of Eric's colleagues who used to run an accelerator. I used to coach for her accelerator. I've coached more than 200 startups in different capacity from discovery, market discovery to like figuring out the product market fit, the research and prototyping and all that. So I've been doing this for many years, and before that, on a separate track, I worked for as a practitioner in the product field for these different companies. And with that, this workshop, the framing is for pitch deck for startup founders pitching. So making sure that the data is robust And the learning objectives for this particular workshop is by the end of this workshop, you will be able to master one simple prompt formula because there's so many different things out there that I'm sure you've been hearing, like, you should prompt this way, that way, this way. There's a shortcut, not shortcut, like a framework here that has been reliably giving me good output, because that's the problem with a lot of these LLM, this AI, is that they give us too much information, right? So know when to use the AI research works is another one that's important, and when it doesn't work, right? Have a lot of example that you can try tomorrow, so you can try today even, and understand how to verify and improve the AI search result. So quickly, this is the agenda introduction. We're going to talk about the quick prompt formula, and then when to use the AI versus not. And then the bulk of this workshop will be demo, 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 so you can actually start applying that. And then at the end, we have Q&A discussion. But in the meantime, if you have questions, you can also drop it in the chat. Yes, the recording and presentation will be made available. Thanks, James. So this is the one prompt formula that you need. A lot of times when we start using these different LLMs, different AI, because Google has trained us so well to just like keyword stuff. A lot of us, including myself, when I started with just using it like an advanced Google. But actually, using it more this way, like you're talking to a human being, is actually a better way. And the three different things, and normally the fourth one, I'll add another one later, but the three main things that would give the LLM a good instruction to provide a good output that's usable, that's useful for you, are these things. The role that the LLM plays, like basically you're hiring a contractor, think about it that way. The task that you're giving it, and the format. So those three different things will give it enough context. And if you could give even more context, as in the project background or your goal, even better. The more context, the better. So an example here is, as a business analyst, research the remote work software market and gave me 5 key trends with data to back me up. So very specific, right? Even better, as a business analyst, research the remote work software market in 2020, blah, blah. So that's the constraint, and give me the top 5 trends affecting companies with. So the more context you give it, the more constraint, the better, just like working with human beings. Sometimes what I see is that people start by saying, research the remote work software market. Like, what do, like, if even us, if we were given that task, won't be able to complete that task effectively, right? And in that case, the LLM would rely on its training and try to, because they try to please us as the user, it would try so hard to just guess. And just by guessing, it would just keep adding more and more and more and more, because by adding more increases the chance that it will give us what we actually want. That's why a lot of times we end up with a lot of things that may not be useful. Okay, when to use AI versus when not to. So when you're getting started on a new topic, that's a good idea to explore, to get an idea. So this is one of the best thing that generative AI can do for us, is to bypass that blank canvas problem. And you need that in, but another thing that you need to consider is that info that you need, what you're looking for, is public. If it's not public, if it's proprietary, then most likely it won't give you something good, right? It could potentially even hallucinate if it's trying too hard. Another one is when time is tight and what you need is good enough. Now, this is another thing that a lot of people have against AI, is that, oh, it's not 100% accurate. Well, that's how it is right now, because it has this thing called temperature, which is like, it's coming up with different things, generating different things. But it's good enough in terms of, like, we get to from 0 to maybe 80 to maybe even 90% really quick. But then, just like working with an employee or a contractor, you need to still review it. You still need to get it to the 100%, as the human needs to be involved. And AI is good at synthesizing lots and lots of information, particularly if you're dealing with, this is what we're going to use today. So it can do research really quick. Another one use case that's amazing is dealing with customer feedback, right? That's like a massive amount of data from different sources, different touch points. You can put it in one place, have it like synthesize it, even chat with it. That's amazing. Now, don't use AI when, as I mentioned, you need proprietary data and there is a legal compliance research. You need the exact sources. Again, like be careful with hallucination. For very recent events that happened recently, this is getting better now with like the research feature because they can actually in addition to the training, most of this LLM now can search the web, right? But even with this, a lot of times it relies more heavily on its training data versus the recent news. Sometimes you need to actually tell it, okay, ignore data or like ignore event or new news sources before certain period. You can also tell them that. And another thing, don't use it. This is similar to proprietary data if there's confidential information involved, especially when you're in finance or like highly regulated industry. You need to be careful with this unless you know like the policy of the AI also, right? So best approach, start with the AI, and then dig deeper where it matters most, primary research. Basically, do your own digging in a lot of cases. You can use AI to speed that up, but in a lot of cases when things really matter, you probably want to do your own research. Okay, with that, three types of research questions that are useful. What's happening? So that's on the surface level. What are the main trends in your industry? What new regulations affect your area? So what's happening, the news part. And then going deeper into why does this matter? The analysis. Compare option A versus option B for specific criteria. So this is where you start getting into the analysis. What are the pros and cons of a certain strategy? Have the AI help you analyze this is a really good way to start seeing where you should go deeper. And then the last part is what should I do? Now the action, right? So you know what's going on, you know why you should care, and now what's the action? Based on these trends, what opportunities should my company consider? What are the biggest risks we should prepare for? This is actually one of the best things that AI can do for us is to actually identify the blind spots. Now, going back to the market research for pitch decks, right? Because that's the topic for this workshop. These are the two things that could be useful for us, like because this market research could be like so big. We're gonna come back to this. What's missing? What am I missing? Because we don't want the investor who we're pitching to thinks that, oh, this is old data, for example, or like you're missing this big source. What would change is there anything that would change the conclusion? Also, verify the big three, the most important things. For example, for market sizing, you might want to verify the TAM, SAM, and SOM numbers because that's a lot of times what investors look at. The most important numbers in your analysis, the growth rate, the compounded annual growth rate. That's something that you want to verify. The key trend, that's very important also because a lot of times we build a particular software or solution or company betting on a certain trend going in the right direction that we want, right? And then the main risk that you're worried about, similar to the trend. Now, here's the demo. So out of curiosity, how many of you in here, just put it in the chat, yes or no, have used the deep research features in AI? Just really quickly in the chat, yes or no? So I'll say some, okay? No. Okay, so Sharon has been using it every day. Great. There were deep research feature ChatGPT. Okay. Anyone else? If you don't know what that is, just say no. So that's cool. No. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. This is the task. Research corporate wellness market for companies with 100 to 500 employees. So that's assuming that as a startup founder, we have an idea and we think that there is an opportunity there and we want to go there, but we want to see how big is this market. We want to understand the market. Should we even consider going there, right? So here's an example using what we talked about earlier. So as a business analyst, that's the role. Research the corporate wellness software market. This is the task, obviously. And then we give it more of the output that we want, right? Give me market size, growth rate, top 3 competitors, biggest trend driving growth, and then include recent data and site sources. So the more specific, the better the output would be. Now, what I did was, so I took this and I gave it to Gemini, ChatGPT, and Claude, okay? And for each of these, there is this thing called the deep research. So what it does is just what we're asking it to do to use this feature is to plan the research like a researcher. So with Gemini, before it actually ran to do the research, it would give us the research plan first, and we could edit the research plan. And then it would run off and look at, in this case, how many sources, it doesn't say. Normally hundreds and hundreds of sources. I think at the bottom it says it. This many sources. Normally with the, let's click by accident. This takes minutes, takes a long time, which is why I ran this earlier. But the idea here is that it's more robust than just a quick web search, right? And then for the ChatGPT, also there is like the ChatGPT one is a bit hidden, but it's here, right? And then for Claude, it just says research, but it's here. Now, what's interesting is that Gemini, as I mentioned, gave us the research plan. This is how I'm going to tackle this as an LLM. And then, but for ChatGPT and for Claude, they gave me actually this list of questions first. And the questions are the same. So the questions, the first one is, am I focusing on particular type of wellness software? And then is it which geographical region I'm focusing on and what's time zone? I mean the timeline for it. And for this, for ChatGPT, it asked me like again the geographical region, and then it's the size of the company, and the third one, the type. So similar, but one of them is different. The timeline is different. Now, after you receive this result, this is like the ChatGPT one is the most concise one actually that we could quickly scan through. And by the way, this is the research. So we'll see like the 3 things that we asked for first. The first one is the market size, growth rate, and top 3 competitors, right? So market size, this one says 3.8 according to this. And then there's an alternative forecast from this one saying this one, 579 million. So 3.8 and 579, they're a big difference, right? So for this reason, I'm gonna look at the other 2 to see like what they found. So let's say with the market size for this, do a projection. So the way I normally consume this, because this is a lot of information, is just scanning the headlines first, like here, right? Software focus from 3. So seems like they're looking at the same sources based on which one that you're more comfortable with. That's what you would include. And now let's see Gemini. I would find market leaders, market segmentation, market size right here. Market context, market segmentation. Wait, where is the market size? Huh, interesting. It says table 1, but the table is not even here. I think it's probably overview. Yeah, I can find it here. So here, there's the same number again from that same source. It's not citing the other source. So I think probably this is a good number to use and the more conservative one. So that's how I would find the market size. And then let's see, the other one is the compounded growth rate, right? So this one, there's like few numbers. Projected is 1065 here. to reach this by 2030, right? 1065. Let's see what ChatGPT says here. It's lower here, 6.10. Credence like 6.7, 6.9. And then what does like Claude say? Trying to find that, verified, market size, complexity, growth prediction, 6 point. So I think it's probably safe to use this one. So that's how the consensus is between this and this. And then like in terms of the competitors, this one called WellHub, Virgin Pulse, Spring Health. This is interesting because all three are giving me different competitors actually. This one, Wellable, MoveSpring, Vantage Fit. And then this one gives me, where is that? I think that's key competitors, Sprout, Limeade, LifeWorks, all different companies, which tells me that this market is still up for grab, right? So I may want to go into this market. This is an interesting one. So with this, then I could continue on with the second part of this. So, okay, it seems like there's a good market. Before that, though, if I wanted to put this in the deck and I want to get this in the format that I want to use, like for this, it's hard to use, right? So I could say that I need to show the PAM, SAM, and SUM for my market size slide in my pitch deck. So now that I have this, then I could ask it to do like a more refined version of this search and to give me that actual thing that I need, the output that I need. And I'm giving it the format saying that this is for a market size slide in my pitch deck. So it knows what it is. So while we're waiting, I'm going to answer the question. Sharon, has anyone experimented with Grok? I've used Grok. Grok has the deep search, deep research, and deeper research in the past, but I think they've removed it from the free. I don't know if it's part of the pro because I don't see that anymore. It used to be quite prominent. I don't know. So yeah, it's used to be like very prominent, not anymore. So here's another thing that is interesting to watch while it's working is to see like, okay, what is it doing, right? This is how it's accomplishing this task. Sometimes you can start seeing oh, this is going in the wrong direction, then just stop it here. Then you can just update the prompt. Okay, while this is doing this, for the sake of time, because now it's just using JavaScript and everything to actually calculate and analyze, which is super useful. I'm going to move on to the second demo, which is so now we've identified this is a good market to get in, and then the competitors are still kind of all over the place. So we want to zoom in on the competitors to see the landscape. Oh, before we do that, trust but verify. So we went through this real quick. Is the wellness market size number a credible source? So we look at that. Do this company actually focus on 100, 500? So we look at that. We make sure of that. So spot checking is very important, right? And when you actually want to use the numbers, make sure that you check the sources. Okay, the competitive analysis. So this is the prompt. As a product strategist, analyze the top 5 corporate wellness software platforms for companies, same market segment we're targeting. And then we want to give it a particular direction of what to compare. Key features, pricing models, target customer segment, and recent customer reviews. What positioning gap could the new player fill in this market, right? So giving it a question like this would direct the research direction also. Now, for this, I'm not going to use the deep research because we don't need to go deep for this. I just want to get like the top level first. And then from there, I could potentially go deeper into 1 or 2 areas. So while I think Claude is still working, I'm going to give this to Gemini and ChatGPT. Turn this off. Okay, here, actually, I'm going to just start a new chat so that you won't get confused. Now, this is interesting how it says thinking longer for a better answer. I think this could be the new GPT-5 because it could adjust the depth of thinking and reasoning automatically. And this to get quick answer, but I'm gonna let it run. Okay, so Gemini is already done with this. So this is still showing the old artifacts. So I'm gonna close this. So I'm just gonna look so that it doesn't distract us. So based on analysis of leading corporate blah, 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 these are the top 5 players. So Virgin Pulse, Quellable, Sprout, Limeade, Burn Along. Key features, pricing models, target customer, recent customer reviews. And one thing that's cool about Google stuff is that you can export it to Sheets. So you can continue your work that way and share that way because they have the integration with the Google Workspace. So this is an interesting one, a new player opportunity. The AI-powered wellness strategies, intelligent program design, predictive engagement, blah, blah, blah. So let's see what this says. Okay, looks like it's pulling the same companies now. Some of them are different, but this should give us an idea of the different companies that we should look into. I'm curious about now from this, normally I would go into like the positioning first. So it's not talking about the AI power thing. That's interesting. Okay, now while I'm doing this, I'm gonna go back check on this real quick. Oh, it's still doing this. So from here, potentially I would go deeper into an area that I want to dive deeper in. For example, like give me ideas for hyper personalization. Right, so you can start going deeper into ideation, or then you can also go deeper into potentially why is this a thing that I should look into? Oh, I'm sorry. So I'm not going to do deep research. Try again without deep research. So that was the planning thing that I mentioned earlier with the step-by-step research plan. Okay, so it says that define hyper-personalization, distinguishing it from traditional personalization and outlining its core principles. This is something the AI obviously is very, very good at. Identify the key technologies and data types that enable hyper-personalization, such as AI, machine learning, blah, blah, blah. Explore various industry, analyze specific. So if you wanted to change it, you can edit the plan here. And then after it's got reaches the website for these things, it's gonna analyze the result, create the report, and write in a few minutes. Okay, I'm gonna start. Now you can see the thinking here. I'm starting my research by focusing on blah, 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 blah. And then research approach, my initial approach involves searching for definition, core principles, da, da, da. So you can kind of spot check, oh, is this going in the right direction? Is the LLM thinking about this the right way, right? And then it's looking at these sites. And if you want, you can also go there. And then now that it's done its reading, it's defining what hyperpersonalization means, the core principles, the next steps, and then it's researching more websites, right? And then deepening the understanding of what hyperpersonalization means and key technologies for data types, moving forward with research, now researching comprehensive exploration of key technology data, leveraging information I've already gathered. So it's focusing now on specific industry sectors and use case for hyperpersonalization so that we can learn from different industry. And then just refining again, market growth, technology drivers. So it's going deep into like the different things to help us come up with different ideas that could actually be useful and could be used for our project, right? So keep going deeper. As you can see, this is why it's taking minutes. And if it's this is not even, oh, it's actually doing the deep research, looks like, for some reason. So it's researching more websites, and it's going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into like the different concept of hyper-personalization and how we can apply this. So it says comprehensive understanding achieved. I've reached a comprehensive da, 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 da. Something like this. This is why I'm reading how it's researching, how it's going deeper into different like rabbit holes, if you will, because sometimes it would claim that it achieves this, but then it's just saying that. And that's why you need to know what it looked at before you got there. So now it's synthesizing the research for the final report. Well, this is happening. I'm going to check if Claude is done with the temp, sem, and sum. There it is. So it gives me the temp, the sem, the sum. And then it's, as always, it's trying to do a lot, and it's giving me the high level, which is what we wanted, like the temp 3.8, sem this, and then the growth rate this. And then the detailed breakdown. Sometimes these things are just a waste of your token and time. If so, then you can tell it, just give me this, don't give me more than that. And also it took a long time for that reason. But it's sometimes could be useful. So this is interesting, actually. I didn't expect this. Market expansion drivers, regulatory support, post-COVID focus, talent competition, healthcare costs. Yep, and then the go-to-market validation is also really interesting here. So with this, potentially I could also, if I wanted to go into like the slide creation mode, I could even just say that, okay, create a mock-up of this slide, including visualization of them, sem, sum, keep it concise, and scannable. Sometimes this kind of thing, because when it goes into the visual side of things, would require multiple shots, refinement, unless you already have an example. An example in this case would be very useful. Then you can add that as an attachment saying that make it look like this. But let me try this. If it doesn't work, we can try with that. In the meantime, another thing that we could use to see whether the result that we get is legit or not, essentially robust or not, we could get it, we can copy and paste it to another LLM and have the other LLM review it, right? So for example, in this case, I'm going to take the Gemini report. Is it done yet? I think, yep, it's done. Let's kind of export to docs, copy contents. Paste it here. It's a massive thing. And then I would say, this is the report I have analyzed and identify discrepancy with your report. And then verify. So this way you can get them to, in a way, check each other's work. Normally what I do is that I have my main LLM, in this case, I normally use Claude. And then with these other LLMs, I have them do these other things and then have Claude basically synthesize or check their work. So here's where how our reports aligns and where it diverges. Company 7% So you can potentially do this with multiple sources, right? Multiple reports. Boom, 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 and then see where they align. Summary table. So this is nice. Verified. Yes, verified. Yes. So sometimes if it doesn't give us this, we can just ask it, give me a summary table so I can easily scan it. Now I'm curious to see if, oh, this is still working. Oh, so this is the slide that it generated for this time, sum, and sum, which is interesting, but not usable. For the most part, it's okay. But now you know. Okay, so with that, I'm moving on to what you got and what we got and what we still need. Feature comparison across platform, we got general pricing structure on the high level positioning differences. But if you want to go deeper, we still need the customer satisfaction scores, potentially NPS or things like that, recent product updates, win and loss reasons from sales teams, which probably won't be available easily on online. So AI gives us the overview, the landscape view. You still need to go to the ground level intelligence, right? And some of the things that potentially could be useful in this case is that once you've discovered the pain point, the gap that these different competitors are not filling, you can go ask like do deep research for but ask them to only look at UGC. For example, look at only X and Reddit for the last 3 months. So you can tell it to just look at those sources to specify those. You can even direct it saying, okay, just focus on pain points. So that way you can just quickly ignore the other noise. Double checking your work. Like what we did, ask different AI tools. So check the different ones. So Perplexity is a good source. We don't use it here in this demo, but Perplexity is another one that's really good with this. Look for red flags. So just like having an over-eager intern. So make sure that you check, do the wellness numbers seem too good, too bad? Do they match up with the other ones? Are there obvious wellness trends missing? Does anything contradict what you know about corporate health benefits? If you already know something from your if as the subject matter expert, if you know something that's like, oh, this feels iffy, you may want to check that. What we covered today, simple prompt formula that works for the research task or any prompting really that you need when AI research works and when it doesn't. Live market research and competitive analysis examples, how to verify and cross-check AI research results, and practical templates you can use. So I'm gonna drop that in the chat. Any questions? So Afsal asks, which tool do you prefer or like more for its ease of use, general accuracy? So personally, I like Claude, but it's really whatever works for you, honestly. Any other questions? Gonna drop my LinkedIn if anyone wants to connect. No questions? Thoughts, comments? Going once? Twice? Okay, so just one last thing before I let you go. Next week, we are going to have an in-person boot camp for using AI to create landing page in less than 2 hours in New York City. So if you're in New York City or want to join this, please come join us. And with that, Eric, you have anything else to say? Maybe you should drop your email again for.
Yeah, I'll drop my email. Everyone, would be great to connect again. One of the side sort of benefits to partnering with us. And well, I shouldn't say side benefits. A wonderful benefit is that you can get a one-on-one coaching session with Danny, who's very well connected to the ecosystem and has advised a lot of successful startups. But otherwise, yeah, would just love to connect and see how Stifel can be helpful to your business.
All right. Thank you, everyone.